Welcome to this lesson on functions, part 1. My name is Norman McIntyre, and I'll be your instructor. The topics we'll cover: first, we will learn about functions. What is a function in the world of computer programming? We will actually look at a specific function called alert, and we're going to learn how to use this alert function without any input parameters. And we'll find out what do we mean by input parameters. We're going to learn about the semicolon, a concept that can cause confusion when you're first learning a computer language. We'll also talk about using an alert with input parameters. So show how do we pass inputs into a function called alert. We're going to learn about something called a string and how you use a string in a computer language. So, the computer language concept of a function is pre-written code. Now this is exciting because it says you can use pre-written code that's been written for you and tested and does different operations. You can call those and use them in code that you're writing. A function can accept as an input, it can accept 0, 1, or more inputs. So think of a function as something you can call. You can say, do this for me, and it might need you to give it some additional information, or maybe not. Maybe it doesn't need any additional information. You can just call the function. Now, after the function does its task, it can then return to you 0 or more outputs. So the function, you can say, do this. It might not need to return anything to you, or it might need to return something, and that return is called an output. So think of a function as you send things into it, it does some operation for you, and then it sends the information back. So in the world of JavaScript, this introduces our new skill, which is the alert function. You'll call this function by typing the name of the function, followed by an open and close parentheses. In fact, the way JavaScript knows you're calling a function is by putting at the end of a name that open and close parentheses. So we may talk about a alert function, and notice how it's written. You give the name followed by a open and close parentheses. So here's how it will look in our code. Notice we're building upon the skills we've already learned. We know about the script tag that says, here comes our script, and we know the ending script tag saying it's all done. Well, now, inside our hello.html, we have the alert function. And notice we type A-L-E-R-T, in other words, the word alert. We have an open parentheses, a close parentheses, but a key observation. Notice the semicolon at the end of the line. This is very important. It tells the computer you're ending this particular line, this particular statement. You can think of it as being similar to putting a period on the end of a sentence. But here we put a semicolon saying, this is the end of this particular line. So make sure that semicolon, you understand it. In fact, notice on the slide it says this is covered in the next skill. I want to emphasize this so much because when you're learning a new language, one of the easiest mistakes to make is to leave off the semicolon. Now, if you refresh your browser after entering that code, that is, you type that alert with the open close parentheses and the semicolon, and you save your file and you refresh your browser, then hello.html is what you're going to, when you refresh it, you'll see the alert pop up. So here on this slide is an alert, and we will have written the code to make that happen. Notice it just pops up a window, or what's called an alert. It says JavaScript alert, and it has a single button, the OK button. So this is cool because it says by calling that alert function, it will cause this window to appear just like we're seeing it here. Now, getting back to this JavaScript skill about the semicolon terminates each statement. And this is a concept that a lot of computer languages use. You type some code and you terminate it, you end it with a semicolon. This means you'll be typing lots of semicolons as you enter your JavaScript. And as I've said, it takes a little time to get into the habit of putting a semicolon at the end of each statement. And when you leave the semicolon off, it will generate an error condition. So we'll be real good. We'll make sure we always put the semicolon at the end of each statement. So by using a semicolon, more than one statement can be placed on a single line. So notice we could actually say alert, semicolon, alert, semicolon, alert, semicolon, and they would all be, it would execute, in this case, 3 alerts, one after the other. So do the first one, do the second one, and then do the third one. However, in general, the recommendation is only put a single semicolon per line, that is, per statement. So although you could write a single line of code, like we show on the slide, notice I've got 2 alerts on the same line. The recommendation is that in general, you will write a statement and you'll follow that statement with a semicolon, and then you will go to the next line. I want to stress again, remembering the semicolon at the end of the line is one of the hardest aspects of learning programming. Is just remember to put that semicolon when you terminate each statement. Just a reminder, in JavaScript, just like when you're writing English sentences, when you write a sentence, you end it with a period. Well, in JavaScript, when you write a statement, for example, the alert function, you end it with a semicolon. Now, JavaScript skill related to functions, we've already mentioned the alert function, but another skill is that it can accept inputs. So a function can accept 0, 1, or even more inputs into the function. Based on what those inputs are, the function will do different operations. So we place the inputs between the open and closed parentheses in the function. So think of the open and closed parentheses as the place you put your inputs. For example, notice here we have alert, and here with the alert I have hello JavaScript. And when I have the hello JavaScript, that is an input. That string, that text that says hello JavaScript is an input to the alert function. Now, an important note is I've put double quotes around that hello JavaScript. Notice the double quotes, and that's very important, and you're going to learn more about that in just a moment. So here is our code. If we were editing our hello.html, we have our beginning script and our ending script. We have both of those tags. And notice now we have alert, the alert function, but we have passed an input into the alert function. And what is that input? It's a single input that says hello JavaScript, and it says hello JavaScript using double quotes at the beginning and at the end. So the double quotes make it where those two words, the hello and the JavaScript, are a single input to the alert function. And by the way, notice the semicolon there at the end of the alert. Here's what you would get if you entered that into the hello.html. You saved it, you refresh the browser. Notice instead of just saying JavaScript alert, now you would see hello JavaScript, which is the text we gave it as the input. Of course, notice once again you have the OK button. So this window will appear on your screen until you touch the OK button. So when we review our JavaScript skills at this point, we have the concept of creating a .html file. We have the concept of putting the script tag as the beginning tag. We also know we have an ending script tag. We know we can put comments using 2 forward slashes and also doing a /* and a */. We also now know what a function is. We know a function is pre-written code. We can call that pre-written code, and we gave a specific example, in this case, the alert function. So we say alert, and we showed it 2 ways. We showed alert with no inputs, just the word alert with the open and close parentheses. And then we also showed alert with the message. We said hello JavaScript, where we use those double quotes. So this brings us to another key skill, in that if you have some human readable text, in JavaScript that is called a string. So a string is a human readable text. You enclose the string in either double quotes or you can do single quotes. Either one will work. So here, if a string is a human readable text, notice I say hello JavaScript using double quotes. That would be considered a single human readable string. Or I could say hello JavaScript, and notice I put single quotes. A single quote at the beginning, a single quote at the end. So either one of these will work. What will not work is if you try to mix them like we show here. So if I try to say hello JavaScript and I don't put any quotes, right? I don't put either double quotes or I don't put the semiquotes, then that would be an error condition. Just as importantly, you can't mix them. So if I begin with a double quote and I say hello JavaScript, then I should also end with a double quote. Same thing with single quote. If I begin with single quote, I should end. The 2 quotes must match. So here's an example in our hello.html. Notice how I said alert, hello JavaScript, but instead of using the double quotes that we used previously, here we've used the single quotes, saying hello JavaScript. The end result is the same, it's just 2 different ways of entering what's called a text string. So here, same result, right? You could not tell from this, when we refresh our browser, we save the screen, we cannot tell whether we said hello JavaScript using single quotes or double quotes. Thank you for joining us.